Hello everybody and welcome to part 2 here at Mr. Stansfield's education videos of making cows fly. Holy cow. Let's go back to Bridge here. We'll go back to our folder where our images are, and the next step is to, what do we want to do next? Let's go ahead and merge the sky from this empty field with the sky of this cow crossing sign. I like the cow crossing sign, but it's a little too sunny. It's hard to get this effect of kind of coming through the clouds here like that. So what we're going to do is take the sky from here and put it into the cow crossing sign. So let's go ahead and open that file up, go back to Bridge, open up our sky, and hit the F key a couple of times so you get this view here. Grab the tab, empty field, click and drag into the sign over here. Hit the F key again, and you can see our sky is much too big, right? You see over here, we've got our layers. Let's go ahead and hit Command T, and then Command 0. And you can see over here how big the file is. If I hold down the space bar, that'll give me the hand grabber. I can click and drag it so I can see the whole thing. I'm going to hold the Shift key, and I'm going to click and drag this right about over here. We want the height to match, so we can match the size as best we can. You can see that the sky is a little bit bigger than the other file, which is just fine. I'm going to click OK or Enter or this little check mark here. I'm going to turn this on and off, and you can see the horizons are pretty well matched up. So the next step is to try to figure out a way where just the sky gets transferred in here. So let's go back to our background, and I'm going to hit Command 0 to look at it nice full screen. And I want to select this blue color. And so let's try that. Select color range. We're going to select color range. And we're going to go ahead and click on this blue here. We're going to hold the Shift key, and we're going to just keep clicking so we have at least most of, if not all of, the sky is black in this little preview window over here. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Pretty good. If you're getting like too much, if it's like looking like that, you can turn your fuzziness down. And if your fuzziness is turned way down, then maybe, find a sweet spot right about here. It looks good to me. Click OK. Now I've got a selection that includes the blue area here. Now you may have to, I'm looking at this selection, and well, let's just go with this. We're going to take the selection. Once we have the selection, we're going to single click on layer 1, click the eyeball back, and then we're going to go ahead and add a layer mask to this layer right here. And you can see it's the wrong layer mask, right? It's showing us the sky from the background where we want the sky from here to be on the background. So what we're going to do is click on the layer mask right here after we create it, and we're just going to go ahead and invert it. Command I is the shortcut key, and that will invert the layer mask. Edit, invert is, where is it? I'm not sure actually where that invert is. If you're ever looking for something in the menu, you can go to the help and then type in what you want to do. And it's right there. There it is. Adjustments invert. Okay, and it'll show you where on the menu you can find it. All right, so it's not perfect. You can see the trees right here are not looking great. You're losing some houses right here. Otherwise it looks okay. Not too bad, not too shabby. You're losing a phone pole, a telephone pole right there. And what I'm going to suggest we do is click on the layer mask, get the brush tool, and that's this tool right here, brush tool. And you can see I've got a much too big brush. If I hit the left bracket, that'll make it a little smaller. And I'm going to go ahead and paint with white with my brush, and we're just going to kind of like paint the kind of the tops of those trees. Okay, it's not perfect, but it's fine. All right, I think we're ready to bring our cow in now. We're going to go ahead and edit this sign later, but for now, I think it's time to bring in the cow. If you wanted to, you could take this background in layer 1 and sync it up. We're going to hit Shift, Option, Command, and then hit E, and it's going to create a new layer from a combination of those two. All right, so hit the F key a couple of times, get back here, get the move tool, bring this guy out here, and then we're going to click and drag to bring him in over here. Whoa, he's too big. All right, I can close this file now. I'm done with that file. If you remember, we saved it, so we're just going to close it. And this field also, we're all done. Click close. All right, hit the F key, and I'm going to hit Command minus a couple times, make it a little smaller. I'm going to go ahead and hit Command T now. I have the full cow selected, and we're just going to make that cow a little smaller. Hold the Shift key. There we go, that looks about right. Maybe a little smaller. Maybe about there. We want them to fly, so maybe something like that. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. So one of the things to think about is, no, I think that's fine. So we can go ahead and click confirm. All right, moving right along. All right, we're going to go ahead and select the layer below the full cow layer, and in this case it's layer 2, because I blended the layer 1 and background together. Select the layer below the full cow, and then you're just going to create a new layer. And this is going to be an empty layer. Just click that little box next to the trash can, and it's going to be called layer 3. I'm going to label this so we can kind of keep track of everything. I'm going to label layer 3, rename it as shadow. And you can go over here to the elliptical marquee tool. If it's on the rectangle, you just click and hold to get the elliptical marquee tool. And we're just going to create a little shadow underneath the cow on the ground here. It's going to give the illusion that the cow is floating. And you'll see this is going to be a little tricky. It's going to actually happen over the post, so I'll show you how to edit that after the fact. We're going to go ahead and edit fill or Shift F5 with black. Click OK. Now, actually, before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and undo. Go ahead and feather your selection. So select, modify, feather, or Shift F6. Let's see what 45 pixels. No pixels. Oh, okay. So never mind. That was too much. Select, modify, feather. Let's try 10 pixels and see what that looks like. Then we're going to go ahead and fill with black. That's the shortcut key there. And remember, it's up here. Edit, fill if you need to. It's still a little too, it's not quite soft enough, so I'm going to undo, step backward, modify, and feather again, and we're going to go to 20 pixels this time. And then fill, there it is. It's a little softer, and so it sort of gives this almost illusion of a shadow of the cow here on the ground. Now, of course, we need to get it behind the post. I can go ahead and hit select and then deselect to get rid of the little marching ants there. And the cool thing about having this on its own layer is that you can move it around, okay? So somewhere like there is probably the easiest thing. And then we just have to add a layer mask. It's really that simple. Add a layer mask, hit Command Option 0 to get it nice and tight. And then we're going to go ahead and paint with a brush tool and hit D for default over here, black and white, hit the X key, and then we're just going to paint with black. Now, I would say we want it to go right up to the edge of the post. That's going to be important. So one of the ways to get a nice hard line on the edge of the post is to make the brush a little harder. So the hardness is at 0, change it to 100, and then we're going to go ahead and do it like that. And it just looks a little bit more natural, a little bit more normal. Hit the X key again, you can paint in the sort of edge of the shadow right here on the side. All right, looking pretty good there. I know you could, there's a little bit of green there, so we might kind of paint it in like so. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So you want that shadow behind that post. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and click on Full Cow, the top layer, and we're going to go ahead and add a curves adjustment layer. And we're going to do that by going to this little half circle, click on curves. I'm going to bring the whole thing down a little bit, okay? And with this layer mask here, we're going to click on that layer mask. We're going to go ahead and use the polygonal lasso tool to make a selection. If you have this properties pop up here, you can just close it. And basically what we want to do is create that sort of God ray. So what we're going to do is click and drag. I'm sorry, not click and drag. We're just going to click, then move the mouse kind of off here, something like that, and then like that, and then kind of come back to create this polygon. It's this shape, and then what we're going to do is fill with black. So you can see our layer mask here is white. We're going to go ahead and edit fill We're going to use black, and we're going to fill that area with black. And by doing so, it creates this natural, not natural at all, but this sort of unnatural God ray. Now, I realize we didn't feather the selection again, so we're going to undo that, go back to select, and then modify, and then feather, and then we're going to go ahead and feather. Let's do 45 pixels this time. That sounds about right. And then we're going to go ahead and fill with black. And you can see here, if you click on this, it's got this kind of giving us the look that we want. Now, I might recommend actually going in, because the post is in the foreground, and painting back the post again. So with the brush tool set to white, make that kind of small and maybe a little soft, and then I'm just going to paint that back in just a little bit darker. And then maybe do the same thing, make a little bit of a bigger brush. The right bracket key will make a bigger brush, and oh, that's a little too hard, so I'm going to soften it up. Right bracket makes a bigger brush, left bracket makes a smaller brush, shift right bracket makes a harder brush, and then shift left bracket makes a soft brush. And it's all right up here. You can adjust the size and the hardness from there, or in this case, I'm going to use a nice big brush and a nice soft brush. I'm just going to kind of get that kind of halo a little bit more. There we go. Now we're talking. Okay. Next step. We're going to basically do the opposite. Here we're going to brighten up the cow and sort of exaggerate those God rays. So if you command click on Curves 1, it's going to create a selection from the layer mask. And then I'm going to go ahead and create, after I create the selection, new curves layer. And it's going to have the same layer mask here. I'm going to hit Command I to switch that layer mask around. And then I'm going to go ahead and brighten up this area. And it's going to give me a little bit of a brighter scene. So that's it. Just drag that up there for the adjustments. Okay. All right. We are getting somewhere. We are slowly but surely getting somewhere. Let's go ahead and add a halo now. And I'm going to do that here. I'm going to go ahead and make a new layer. Make a new layer. Double click layer 3. Call it halo. We want to make sure we just kind of keep everything